¿Qué ingeniería crees que se necesita para diseñar y construir un dragster? Un dragster, estos vehículos diseñados específicamente para alcanzar altas velocidades con motores a reacción, motores de avión puestos en tierra. En esta interesantísima entrevista en inglés con Chris Larsen, vamos a meternos a fondo a los detalles de diseño y de construcción de un dragster que él mismo hizo junto con un equipo de estudiantes del Florida Tech en Estados Unidos. Lo más interesante es la simplicidad con la que nos explica detalles técnicos avanzados. Y Chris hace realmente posible que nosotros construyamos un vehículo como este. Mira esta interesantísima entrevista y al final, como siempre, mis conclusiones. Puedes pedirle acá a YouTube que haga la traducción simultánea de la entrevista para que la escuches en español. La entrevista está en inglés. Hoy entrevistamos a Chris Larsen de Larsen Motorsports y nos va a hablar acerca de la construcción de este dragster. Chris, please, could you tell us how you design and make this beautiful dragster?
Sure. I grew up in a racing family. My family raced land speed record cars. If you follow land speed racing on the Bonneville Salt Flats, really fast
Really
cars.
interesting.
And I was always interested in drag racing, and so I went to school to be an airplane mechanic. That was what my career was. And I learned to work on jet engines, gas turbine engines, jet engines. And I had a passion for motorsports. I had a passion for aviation. So I just merged my two passions and built a jet car. Now this is actually our sixth generation jet car. We built our very first jet car in a little garage beside my home. That would have been back in the early 2000s. And I wanted to make sure that my family was involved and that my wife was involved with the operation. So I had her drive the car. And we weren't sure if she would be any good. Now, she did successfully drive some of the piston engine race cars, some methanol burning cars. And so I thought I was very confident that she could drive a jet car as well. And it did turn out to be true. So we built our very first jet car. That car was called the Mystifier.
Okay.
And you put a pretty girl in a race car. If you and I are driving at the racetrack, we're just another guy. You put a pretty girl in a race car, and immediately everybody fell in love with the whole operation. The cars today that we build now, we actually have four more of this sixth generation car in work. We're always building cars, and the cars are fairly traditional materials. The chassis is built out of normalized 4130 chromoly steel. The body is made out of 40 thousandths thick aluminum. There's some parts that are fiberglass on the car, the nose of the car, the engine inlet here, and the seat that we call it a seat pan that the driver's seat fits into. And we build the cars to last a long time. The cars are quite normally operated for maybe even as long as 10 years now. In our case, since we're always building cars, we don't run them quite that long. One of the things that's very unique about Larsen Motorsports is that we are an affiliate of Florida Institute of Technology based in Melbourne, Florida. When NASA launches rockets, Florida Institute of Technology, when you're in our parking lot, you can see the rockets launching.
Very close.
So it is very close, yes, sir. And but one of the very unique things about this car is about 80% of our workforce at Larsen Motorsports are students from the university and other post-secondary institutions. And so it is normal for us to have the students help fabricate the cars. And of course, we are here right now at the Siemens America's Partner Customer Conference for 2026. And we are So we're highlighting some of the Siemens activity that we use on the screen behind us here. I know one of our drivers is actually holding your camera right now. It shows that Roach that drives for House of Color, which is a Sherwin-Williams brand. And maybe as we're talking, she can even take your camera and run around the car a little bit and show you some of the features of the car. And I'll try and see what she's pointed at that time in order to talk to you about that feature. But if you look at the front of the car, there's wings on the front of the car that help hold the front end down. Those are there mostly for when the parachutes come out the back that help decelerate the car. The car, its primary method of deceleration is a parachute. Now you'll see that there is four-wheel disc brakes. There's some fairly small disc brakes on the front of the car that are mounted to the front wheels. The reason that they're so small is because the area of that narrow front tire is very small as well, and we don't want to have the driver lock up the brakes. The tires are very thin because we want very low rotating weight. And as she works further down that aluminum body, you're going to see the ductwork. Some of they're called NACA ducts that are installed in the body. That helps vent some of the air out from underneath the body. If there's high pressure air that gets underneath the body, we don't want that, and that is because it would help lift the car off the ground. Working her way on back to the driver's compartment. The driver climbs into the driver's compartment to get in the car through that space between the windshield and the roll cage, which in this case is surrounded by crash protection panels. And inside the car, there are only a couple engine instruments. There's an engine RPM indicator, and there's an exhaust gas temperature indicator. There is a red light on the instrument panel there. That's a low oil pressure light. But we work very hard to keep the cars as simple as possible in order to take the driver's concentration, leave the driver's concentration on the outside, not having to look on the inside.
Outside.
Absolutely. This car is unique that it doesn't have an accelerator pedal for your foot. It has a hand throttle. There's three levers on the right-hand side of the car. The throttle lever is there's a red button on top of the throttle lever. If you want the engine shut off, throttle lever comes all the way back. If you want the engine at full throttle lever goes all the way forward. And that all-important red button on the top of the throttle flows fuel to the afterburner. And that fuel is lit by an afterburner ignition on that very uniquely shaped steering wheel. We call that a butterfly steering wheel. It is typical in drag racing applications like this, but it is a little bit of an unusual shape. Also on the steering wheel, there's a red button, and that button, is it red on this one? No, it's black. Black button on this one. I can never get it straight. But that button is to key a microphone so that the driver can talk to her crew chief or maybe me or the other drivers on the racetrack at any time. That radio communication is done with a radio that's mounted behind the driver's compartment. Josette just pulled the steering wheel off, and you can see that's one of the ways that it makes it easier to get in and out of the car with a quick release mechanism on the steering wheel itself. One of the things that the professors at Florida Tech helped us develop is energy absorbing foam. You look at the seat of the car and even the foam that surrounds the driver's head. That is a very unique foam that was developed at Florida Tech to absorb energy. That energy absorbing foam, if you think about maybe a volleyball or a basketball or a soccer ball, when you hit that ball, that would be a closed cell. In other words, if I was to dribble that soccer ball, when it hit the ground, it would rebound and come back up. This foam is the opposite. Imagine each one of these little molecules of foam being an open cell, and that way in a crash there's no rebound of the driver's body. It's there to absorb the energy only and not push their body back. You see that we have a metal that surrounds the driver's heads all the way around. There are some open spots here back in the back of the car. Some people wonder why we left that open. There's two reasons. That way the engine that's drawing a lot of air into the engine inlet can draw off those. And in addition to that, in the very unlikely event of a crash, we have access to the base of all of those roll cage tubes all the way around, so we can take the jaws of life, they call them, and snip every one of those roll cage tubes and lift the roll cage right off the car, get the driver out. In the back, there's a bottle with a couple gauges on the back here. That is filled with liquid CO2, and that liquid CO2 it powers some of the control systems on the car, primarily engine control systems, but it does also power an automatic shutoff device. If the driver loses consciousness, if the driver's hand slips off that afterburner fuel switch on the throttle, that's a momentary switch that tells the car there's something wrong. And even if the driver decides, I don't want to shut the car off, it's going to shut off automatically on its own. Secure, absolutely. We have some scoops on either side of the driver's compartment up here. Those are also there for multiple purposes. They grab a lot of air and bring the air, direct the air in towards the engine inlet, but also those scoops are there in the event of a crash. It's the first area that we want to absorb energy and dissipate energy before the energy of that crash gets to the driver's compartment. Coming on back, you can see we have a screen on the front of the engine at the engine inlet. All of the air that goes into the jet engine goes into the engine right here. That screen is cone-shaped, for the purpose that we have to increase the surface area of that screen. But that screen is there just to keep bigger pieces of debris. It wouldn't keep a grain of sand or a little piece of dirt out, but it would keep bigger pieces of debris.
Like a filter.
It is like a filter. Yep, it's just like a really coarse filter. We come on back. The engine is right here underneath this engine cowling. The engine is a General Electric J85. You would find this engine most commonly in your country in some of the fighters, some of the light strike fighters that we've used for many years. The F5, Northrop F5 fighter. Yep. On either side of the engine of the either side of the engine here are fuel tanks. Those fuel tanks each hold 12.5 gallons of fuel. They're connected in the back to a common manifold. That is just enough fuel to get us down the track one time. 1 quarter-mile pass consumes just about 20 gallons, 18 to 20 gallons of fuel. We don't like to run the pumps in the engine dry, so we leave a little bit of fuel left over at the end of the run. Coming on back underneath the cowling here, of course, is that chromoly chassis that is all welded, perfectly welded. And we get to the rear tires of the car. The rear tires of the car, curiously, this car doesn't have a transmission. It doesn't have a differential. It blows itself down the racetrack. Pick the biggest blow dryer in your house and stand on a skateboard or some roller skates and point it the right direction. You know what's going to happen, right? So it's going to roll you down the racetrack or blow you down the racetrack. In this case, the tires are NASCAR tires. That's a super speedway tire from Goodyear Super Speedway tire from NASCAR, and the spindles are independent of each other. There's no live axle. There's nothing like that back there. And then coming on back finally to the back of the car, there's 2 more of those round containers, or we call them parachute cans. Those are where the parachutes are stored during a run. As the parachute is packed in there during the run, there's a cable on top of the cans. That cable is what releases the parachutes. The driver actually pulls a lever to release the parachutes. The one that Josette's looking at right now is the primary parachute, and the one on the opposite side is the emergency or reserve parachute. The parachutes themselves are anchored, though, in the center of the car. Those big round aluminum spools there are where the parachutes are anchored. When the driver deploys the parachute pulls down the center line of the car. At that same time, at that same moment, the driver will shut the engine off and deploy the primary parachute. That way, all that smoke and fire that was just coming out of the back of the afterburner there is off, so we don't burn the parachute off the back of the car. The flames are gone at that point. And And Josette's looking inside that afterburner. There's a device inside there that's a hexagon shape called a flame holder. Also in front of that, you might be able to see a round ring, which is the fuel manifold itself that distributes the fuel. Those are both mounted behind the sets of turbine blades. So she's looking in there right now, and you'll be able to see the turbine blades in the back of the engine. All of that put together weighs about 1,050 pounds.
Okay.
Fueled with the driver with a couple 100 pounds of fuel in the car, and one of our drivers that's probably around 150 pounds in their full protective gear. The total weight ends up being about 1,500 pounds as they approach the starting line. And the car will accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in around a second. The car will break 200 miles an hour in the 3-second range, and speeds approaching 300 miles an hour in about a 5-second range. Great cars, wonderful to drive. If guys like me and the rest of the crew do their job, the girls have no problem. But they're definitely speed junkies, and we love to see them run the cars down the track. Maybe someday we can do it in Ecuador for you.
Yeah, you're invited. Ecuador is your home. You have your home in my home.
You got it.
We are going to invite you to Uniandes University or universities in Ecuador to explain us more. This is the interesting piece of engineering. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Chris, you have been so kind to explaining us in this long video, and I am really happy to see you and learn how you build this wonderful piece of engineering.
Well, we'll come to Ecuador. You come on up here to the United States. We'll go play with some jet cars together.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Una entrevista espectacular la que nos ha regalado Chris Larsen, develándonos detalles interesantísimos respecto al diseño y a la construcción de un dragster, especialmente hablando desde la parte de los aviones. ¿Cómo conseguir un motor de avión de esas características para construirnos un vehículo así? Pues parecería imposible, pero realmente Chris lo hace ver realmente fácil, lo hace ver realmente factible. Y sería interesante, y estamos trabajando para poder llevar estudiantes nuestros, estudiantes ecuatorianos, a Florida Tech, para que ellos también participen en el diseño y construcción de este tipo de vehículos, que mucho más allá de su aplicación, abren la mente a nuevos conocimientos, a nuevas herramientas y a cosas que acá en el país probablemente no estemos haciéndolas, pero que ellos luego traigan para poder aportar a esta nación y a toda Latinoamérica, por supuesto. Cabe destacar algo interesantísimo: las herramientas computacionales que utilizó Chris y su equipo para el diseño de este componente, de este vehículo, son herramientas de Siemens, así que interesantísimo, y pronto vamos a seguir trayéndote mucho más material respecto a las herramientas de Siemens que tú también vas a poder usar, aprender y aplicar, como has visto, esta aplicación interesantísima de un dragster. Gracias por vernos, suscríbete acá y campanita para que te avisen cuando subimos videos. Está súper interesante el material que estamos subiendo, y pues espero verte la próxima. Saludos.